The most important number in my business is 20 calls a month. If I don't speak with 20 ideal clients every month, my business falls apart.
Break that down, because I think in your book, you wrote kind of your formula. You're like, this is how many messages I need to send to get this many conversations, to get this many calls, to get this many clients.
1 out of 5 cold outreach to conversation ratio. So I mean, if I need 20 calls, that's 100 cold outreach. I alternate weeks from sales week and innovation week because I got to give my brain permission to focus in 2 different areas. So that's 50 for a sales week, 50 outreach per sales week. I average about 20 an hour if I'm going quickly. If I need to rely on cold outreach, most of the time, though, I can do about half of my calls based on referrals and people that have liked and commented, which is basically like a shoe-in, right? I'm shooting 90%.
It's way warm. It's like super easy. They'll be like, "Whoa, Max just sent me a message."
I'm talking about ideal ICPs. You look at 40 likes on my thing. Half of those people I already know. Half of those people are, I don't know, Nick Bennett's. Half of those people are, whatever. And then you got like 2 or 3 people that are like, oh my God, that person owns an agency that's between 20 and 70 people that may or may not be focused on growing client accounts. Like you can't survive on it. So that's additive, but it's not hunting and killing for yourself. Hunting and killing for yourself is having a research team, constantly developing your list, monitoring that list, reaching out to them cold as ice and saying, I have an idea. I have a cool podcast. I'm writing a new book. Would you like to be interviewed on my thing? And they go, oh yeah. Now you're in conversation. You need 20 of those. You actually listen. You don't try and sell those people. You listen to what their current initiatives are. 10 of them will have initiatives that you can contribute to. They'll do a workshop with you. 5 of those will turn into proposals. 1 will close if you're priced correctly. If you're too cheap, you'll close more. If you're too expensive, you'll have an opportunity to close them later, I guess. So it's a 1 client per month formula. You need 20 conversations. Now, 10 of those turned into opportunities. What happened to the other 10? In fact, what happened to the other 15 that didn't turn into proposals? What happened to the other 19 that didn't turn into deals? They turn into know, like, trust relationships that can refer you new business, can refer you to other influencers that you're going to post their content on your profile. They're going to post the thing you did on their profile. It's going to expand your network. And it costs me $0. In fact, I'm getting paid because I'm learning so much about my ideal clients. If something changes in the market, I talk to 20 people every freaking week. If something changes, I'm like, 10 conversations. Everybody's saying they're not buying content anymore. It's so weird. What's going on?
I want to pause on the pricing thing. You're like, if you're priced right, you'll win. Pricing has been probably the number one thing that has come up in every client engagement I have right now. Everyone is super fixated on, I don't know, like these trends come and certain things just bubble up across your clients at all in given times. Pricing is one of those things that is surfaced right now for most, if not all of them. How do you think about it? I know you're big on the strategy first, like implementation later. You do the small tripwire projects, or at least that was a way that you were doing it. How do you think about pricing right now?
So the key is right now, because like every once in a while you admit that you didn't know something. Yeah. We're not like old people. We weren't around in the 70s. We've seen some trends, but here's what I learned, because and I still believe this in an economy where people have cash, and that is the price is never right. If you get the deal, all that means is that you left money on the table. And for years, I said, look, if you get a yes at $10,000, you double the price the next day. You double the price, you get 4 more no's at that price, then you split the difference. I went from charging $2,500 to $25,000 for the same amount of work in 6 months by doing this system. Because it's consulting. The first thing my dad said when I wanted to be a consultant was that, oh, congratulations, you're a consultant. All that means is you make up the price. That's what consulting is. That's why we do this. That's why I want to do it, so I can play more golf and hang out with my kids. But when budgets get tight, and this didn't happen during COVID, it was still like, yay, here's money. It's happened in the last couple of years. There's been a big change. You have to follow the budget. And so I think now more than ever, it's not a question of like, oh, you're God's gift to the earth. You can charge whatever you want because you're making these companies millions of dollars. No. The fact is that companies have budgets. Those budgets have words next to them. And if you don't have access to decision makers and get in and lean in and whisper and say, Bill, we had a great time last night over dinner. And like, I'm going to send your kid this cool jersey. Would you mind just like, I don't know, telling me what those words say next to the dollar signs? I'll make it work. I'll be your PPC, person. We got to be able to work with our buyers to understand what they're still allowed to spend money on. We're sitting there trying to scratch at budget that doesn't exist. And I think that's been a big revelation for me, is like, it's a time where the relationship with those decision makers, the people that understand what they're able to spend money on, that's what's important. We need outside in service design in times like right now. And it doesn't even mean you have to change what you do. That's the funny thing. You don't even have to change what you do. But like my business partner, Katrina Bucell, says, you have to let them piss on it.